back to the Girls Wanna Know, guys. How's it going, boo?
Hey, girl. How's it going?
It's good. I am in my rent week, so
Ooh.
yeah, this is going to be a good conversation about entrepreneurship and how we are surviving this economy.
You know, it feels like I pay rent every 2 weeks. You know, it's definitely not feeling like
you never get that break.
I just feel like I'm not living hard enough in my apartment.
Yeah, I know. I really
to pay for it, I'd be like, I need to do more stuff here.
I gotta sublet the bathroom. I have
stop it. You know what? Not sublet the bathroom.
3 walk-in closets. Like, I feel like I could make a room under the stairs for somebody. You need it, you let me know. Like, for real.
It is. It's definitely in a space where now I feel like I have so many hustles to where I'm hustling to pay for my place that I'm never at.
Yeah.
Because I'm working all these different things or doing so much to where that's why I'm like, all this money you paying, girl, I need to do something wild up in here.
I need to really start throwing raves or something. Just like a cover charge at the door.
You know?
Something to
charge your friends
this
an entry
apartment
fee.
Needs to start earning its keep. I'm tired. The apartment and the dog. I'm about to put that dog on the blade, baby.
It's definitely
go to work.
And I think it's really interesting now, too, because I think for all of us growing up, we watched how our parents had homes by the time they were our age now. And majority of us are basically struggling to pay rent.
Yes.
And that, depending on where you live, is a really small place.
It's insane.
You're not even paying for anything that's like
amazing. I don't even have a washer and dryer. Like, I got to take my clothes down through the parking structure. Yeah,
Same.
like it's a whole situation.
When my friends have in-unit washer and dryer, I'd be like, oh, okay,
I know.
you balling.
That's luxury.
That's luxury.
I've been waiting my whole LA life for this. I have not gotten it yet. It's okay. It's coming.
I mean, it's coming.
But I haven't gotten it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it definitely is just kind of a sign of the times. Like, I be seeing, I be on Twitter. I'm not even gonna hold you. Twitter is my
you mean
app.
X?
I be on Twitter. I will not call it
people
X.
still call it Twitter. Yeah,
I will not be calling it that. But
I know
I be on there, and people be like, "Why are millennials so like sad?" It's because we did all the stuff.
We've been through a lot, though.
I see that tweet over and over again. We did all the stuff we were supposed to do, and we do not get the things that we were supposed to get. We were supposed to be able to have a savings account, get a house, get married, have kids, and none of these things are really like viable options for us right now.
Yeah. And it seems to continue to get worse.
Yeah, like the goalpost keeps moving, and so you're just kind of like, okay, well, I saw this girl crying because she actually got a house.
Oh wow!
And she didn't get a fixed rate mortgage. I can't remember what the other one is called, but she basically has the kind of mortgage where it can go up every couple years or go down based on.
So they do that with more. I'm not in that pay grade, so I stick to what's going on in my renter life.
Right, yeah.
But I know with renting nowadays, if you don't have rent control, your rent can go up more and more every year. So I didn't know that was.
So yeah, her mortgage went up a couple $1,000s. And
wow,
essentially,
I didn't know that was a thing in that area. I always thought
once
the way
you get a mortgage,
it's
it's your mortgage. No, you have to get a fixed rate mortgage. So it's the same every year. And if you don't have a fixed rate mortgage, it can go up. I think it's the same for a couple years, and then it can go up or down depending on the market.
What?
And so her mortgage went up a couple $1,000s, and she doesn't really have the ability. Like, she doesn't have the ability to like pay this extra couple $1,000s because you have a house. You have a house. You have to be able to pay for every single repair. Like, to our credit with renting, like my toilet stopped working. Some electricity, baby. Somebody need to come up in here right now, and somebody comes in. I don't have to pay a bill for that.
Yeah,
but if you own your home,
my brother, he owns a home. and so did like I have friends of mine who have gotten condos. Like if a window breaks in their house, they have to spend that money to do it. You know, so a part of me is like, okay, renting has its benefits, but now the way the economy is moving, you know, it's becoming just as expensive or more.
I have a friend moving here, and she was like, "There's nothing under $2,000." I'm like,
LA is a different beast. Los Angeles is a completely different beast. I think it's I don't know what number we are rated as the highest.
I would say we're definitely top 3.
Yeah.
And not
I think
number
we
3.
are. I don't know like accurately. I don't know,
but yeah, I'm definitely of the mindset that if you did not get a place in LA that's rent controlled like 5 years ago, you got to get a roommate. Like,
absolutely.
That's just the way that it's going to be.
I think with the way the economy is moving right now, depending on what you work in. Number two. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. That makes sense. LA would be number 2.
Yeah.
Who's number 1?
San Diego.
San Diego's really expensive.
Not San Diego #1. Like,
no, I heard from a friend that San Diego was really pricey.
I'm actually surprised.
Because I was considering moving to San Diego at one point because I was sick of LA, and I was like, it's so close. I can still get the same benefit.
The top 6, 4 of them in California.
Of course.
San Diego, Los Angeles, Santa Barbara, and San Francisco. Yeah. Actually, and then Salinas, Santa Rosa. Yeah, wow.
You would think that they were like, that was the case because people were like, oh, it's always warm there. It's been raining.
We had torrential rain. We had hail like 2 months ago.
Hail. It ain't what it used to be, baby.
Yeah, I don't know. So global warming mixed with capitalism is really beating our ass, basically. Yeah.
And I think the job market here, too, is really bad.
Crazy.
I mean, it's bad. I'm not sure what it's like everywhere else, but like, even though I'm an entertainer, nowadays you just can't do that. You have to have like several streams.
You got to have
So looking for jobs has been very, very disappointing.
Yeah.
And almost like pearl clutching.
Yeah.
Because when you see what's out there with how expensive it is to live here, you're shocked that they're like even fixing their mouths to be like only $15 an hour.
They really want you to have like 2 degrees for that though.
Okay.
Like you really got to have a master's
You got to have a master's
degree.
to work at the grocery store. Don't play with me.
Yes. Like literally they're like, we want to know what you wrote your thesis on just so that we can make sure when you're stocking the shelves that you're like coherent. No, like
also
stop
you got to take a
playing in
test
my face.
before you start this job.
So I actually did that because I had applied to Amazon.
Okay.
I'm like, when I started like looking for jobs, I was like, let me see what I could do at Amazon.
Yeah.
And they had this customer service pharmaceutical something or other. And I'm like, oh, I could do that because it's work from home. I could do that.
Right.
But you had to take a test. And as I was taking the test, I really felt like my brain was short-circuiting because it was just kind of like one of those things where you're really requiring so much of me for $25 an hour, and this is not worth my brain.
I ain't even started the job yet, and I'm already stressed out.
Like
How?
I was looking at it just feeling, and they ended up calling me to like do the interview, and I just ignored it because no, I'm not doing this. Like I'm not about to put myself through the stress.
I'm also concerned about how we've moved into a space where if you apply for a job, instead of them contacting you and being like, hi, I'm such and such, we would like to interview you, you get a text message now.
Oh.
I've been getting text from places being like, oh, hey, we saw your resume that you put in. They won't say what job it is because you're like, girl, I've been putting in jobs for everywhere. And they'll be like, are you available for an interview? And
do you feel like those are scams?
Well, I have had, I mean, I've never gotten any of the jobs. Like a couple of them, I think they were because you end up, they send you a link. They send you to this little place where they do a presentation of something and they go, if you agree with all these things, you can move to the next steps. It's a lot of that out there on Indeed, LinkedIn. Like for me, being out there really pushing to trying to find a job, I found it that you could run into some scams. You have to be very careful, especially with these like remote jobs.
Yeah. Yeah.
The remote jobs are, everybody wants them.
Yeah.
You know, so there are so many people out there being like, let's lie to them and hire them, get all their information for their
direct deposit. So they could wipe your $42 out your bank account.
Okay. So they could go ahead and get your 25 cents.
Like literally.
And leave you looking dumb.
Oh,
so it's a lot of that, which is very stressful because when you're in the middle of looking for jobs, it's so stressful anyway.
Yeah.
So now you have to not only look for the job, you have to comb through the scams.
Yeah.
And be set up. Like there's been so many times that I've done Zoom interviews and you're like, girl, no, I could tell right through this that you don't work for such and such.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's that.
You've been an entrepreneur for like a long time though. What do you feel like, because I feel like you've been an entrepreneur for longer than the job market has been like this. And I think for me, I kind of left for different reasons than what the job market looked like when I was at my job. What kind of happened for you that made you say, I can't really work for anybody? Like I got to pursue my own thing.
I've always wanted to.
Yeah.
That is the part that me and Guy, we be talking about it.
Y'all linked up on that.
We linked up on it. I've always my whole life. I grew up in a family full of entertainment. So growing up to me, it was like, this is what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like I knew I wanted to be, and I was literally, I don't want to take us off subject, which is another day, but I've always been the little girl that watched Nickelodeon and Disney Channel and was like, I want those jobs. But now they got documentaries coming out where you be like, well, I'm glad I didn't get them. But, but I've always wanted that. And since I've wanted that, I was blessed enough to have family that supported that. So, You know, they always kept me in classes. I was doing ballet as a kid. I was in dance. I did all of that stuff. So as I got older, the best jobs to have to be able to pursue that was always working in restaurants.
Yeah. It's a natural progression.
It was yeah.
Okay.
So I had always worked as a bartender or a cocktail server or something that would give me the freedom and flexibility. Yeah. And I was doing that. What got hard for me was like, I made great money in Chicago. Maybe it was because it was a foodie city.
It's a foodie city.
But I would make a lot of money. Like you would darn near be at 6 figures as a server in Chicago. And so I thought I could do that here in LA. And when I got here, I was like, oh no, they're not doing that here.
I feel like some places I think you can in LA, but I think it's really hard to get into those places.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
I've lived here 12 years. And I stayed within restaurants. I didn't want to leave the restaurant world and really try to do what I'm trying to make it now. The restaurants would close.
Yeah.
In LA, the restaurant was struggling just like me.
It's literally, and it's happening for vegan and non-vegan restaurant, baby. The number of vegan restaurants who are losing, it's happening at a clip. I don't know, because people are eating. But I think they're eating at home because
I don't think that they're doing that anymore.
Yeah, everybody's doing gig work. Like, we're not eating out. Because I used to order Postmates all the time.
Same.
I do not.
I had picked up that habit over pandemic.
Yes.
So it was a bad habit that I had to break because it was too
Postmates.
pricey.
Yeah, because Postmates, you used to be able to get food for $20.
Right.
Now your food is $40.
Literally, listen.
$40.
You like, I'm about to get some McDonald's that's going to cost me $40.
Like, literally, why is this food so... Exactly.
Stop playing.
But then also, you might just start ordering and be like, fuck it, I'm going to just cook something. Because you really just get so I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but you're so irritated by the fact that here I am just trying to enjoy a movie on a Saturday night. I've worked hard this week. I just want to chill.
Irritation, that's what it was for me.
Yeah.
I stopped wanting to work in restaurants because it was just like, first of all, it's tiring. As you get older, you're like, I cannot be on my feet for 8 hours or up all night dealing with someone who can't figure out what they want to eat or what they want to drink or somehow their car, like all the drama you deal with that. On top of that, I had been through probably since I've lived here 4 and 5 restaurant closings. Yeah. And that's, after a while, I was just like, okay, what other avenue can I go down? And then I was like, I really love social media. I was someone who was creating content on my own. So I started to work in like doing content producing, content creation, and kind of like helping different brands build YouTube channels. That, to me, I thought was going to be a more stable job, which I'm learning the corporate world is just as bad.
Corporate world is so janky, baby. They really trying to pay them like 5 people that is running everything at the top. Yeah. And they squeezing it off from the people at the bottom.
The people at the bottom. And I find it, what I'm going through now, which what I want to talk about is the state of America is in a space where we're not acknowledging that there aren't any jobs and the economy is so bad.
They keep saying the unemployment rate is so low, and I'm like,
no, it's not. You're lying. That cannot be, because I'm on TikTok every single day, and when I'm scrolling, everyone's like, I've applied to 17,000 jobs and I haven't gotten any.
I've been applying and interviewing for 5 months. I hear people saying 5 months over and over and over again. And these are people who, and obviously, like, you don't know everybody who's saying this, but everybody ain't lying.
Everybody ain't lying. And here's the thing, and a lot of my friends back home in Chicago, they have 9-to-5s, corporate 9-to-5s, but they're not making enough money to survive in their rental apartments. To where one of my homegirls works as Smoothie King or something at night. Like, so she's leaving her job that she works from 5 a.m. Okay, by the way. You're waking up to go to work at 5 a.m. You're waking up at 3 a.m, getting ready, going to work. She works, I think, from 5 a.m. to maybe 3 or 4.
Oh, God.
She gets an hour break, and then she goes to work at Smoothie King, I think, from like 6 to close. So that's like 6 to 10.
Sustainable.
And then she's tired and you're overworked. So like, even if you have a job right now, you're looking for a second one.
You're looking for a second one. Yeah. So I think this is
So that's why the unemployment rate is down, because we got all the jobs, but we still ain't surviving.
Yeah. Because eggs are $9.
Eggs are $9. Okay. Listen.
Yeah, I definitely.
Eggs were getting stolen. Out of stores. So like, that part is crazy. And I also think a lot of jobs are really squeezing people, which is causing depression. And because they were saying, I think I read the other day, it was like the US is like dropping on happiness. And they blamed it on young people. And they said that it was because of our use of social media.
Black people been new.
Yeah, we've been, baby. now that
black people have been saying this?
We've been saying this. We've been going through this. Now the rest of the world is feeling it, and they're like, oh my God. But I feel like that part is, you workplaces now and they're giving you more work and either not giving you a raise with the more work they're giving you, or they're consistently making empty promises.
And they changed our pay structure so many times over the course of us working there. And every time they would change the pay structure, the metrics for bonusing would get harder to meet. And so
I think that's got to be something from the top.
Yeah,
up,
of course. Because
right?
you see that we hit the metrics and you're like, oh, maybe it's too easy. Let me make it a little harder.
You think that it's like that? Or you think it's legitimately deeper than that? I think it's deeper. I think it's something going on that our government is not saying, to where they continue to make budget cuts because maybe they're not getting the money they need to keep the company going in a certain kind of way.
Oh, no, it's absolutely, they just want to pad their pockets.
Okay.
There's nothing, I don't think there's any secret like conspiracy happening.
Right.
It's that the rich are keeping themselves rich.
Yeah.
And making sure that the way that they stay rich is from squeezing it from the bottom. We're like a tube of toothpaste as a country.
Yeah.
Like all of the shit. You're like, oh. Everything is coming from the bottom, and the people at the top are the only ones who are benefiting.
But from my perspective, I feel like when you do that, the company just gets crappier.
I mean, yeah.
And it ends up going under.
But I will say that the amount of like pressure that we were under to perform, the different things that they would constantly throw at us, and it would be from people who were not really working in the environment.
Okay.
It's just kind of like, why am I constantly putting myself through this? And then add on top of that, I was dealing with racism from my coworkers and also from the clients.
Yeah.
And so it just got to a point, and I think this is consistent.
I deal with that now.
Yeah, it's consistent for a lot of Black people in the country and people of color. You just kind of get to a point where you're like, I'm not going to do this anymore.
And I mean, I think that's the part that I'm trying to understand. It's just like, wouldn't you think if your employees were happy and they were being able to take care of themselves, that they would be motivated to do more and give more? When you're working that hard and they're constantly giving you more things on your plate, and your salary is still the same and you're still struggling,
yeah,
that's not going to motivate me to come to work and do my best.
It's not.
If I'm in here working my butt off and I'm tired and I got to go to the Smoothie King after this,
yeah,
I'm calling off.
Yeah.
Boy, better yet, I'm stealing.
Yeah.
No. I'm just being ratchet me. But no, I feel like...
but for real though, I just feel like you get to a point where you're just kind of like...
You had to take these paper clips.
Why exactly? Like, why am I working so hard? And the thing is, when I started, I was working super hard and I was actually reaping the benefits of the work that I was doing. Right. And suddenly I'm having to work harder, but my bill's not being paid at the same rate.
Yeah.
Why am I doing this?
When you're happy, I feel like that exudes a lot throughout the company. If every employee there is happy to be there, they're living a great life, they're, motivated. Yeah. You're going to have a great environment and the business is going to flourish. It's going to get bigger. I mean, we seeing this now with, like you said earlier, like Twitter is now X. It's not as cute as it used to be.
I mean, but and I do think that there is something rather nefarious happening with that, because with Twitter, there was a lot of organizing that took place, especially during elections. We're in an election year. And so dismantling the way that Twitter is effective for organizing kind of makes it easier for them to slide on by with the bullshit. Right? Because
it's too late. We already know.
We already know.
We already know. I don't know why they keep trying to conspiracy theory us with this, like, let's take TikTok away. Let's do that. We get it. Like, we already get, like, we got it during pandemic. Yeah. That, like, literally, I feel like all Americans got woke during pandemic. Yeah. You shouldn't have set us down for 2 years. And let us just eat in the house and watch the news.
The veil got pulled off.
The curtains was ripped open, baby.
So many people. And people had been saying for a long time, like, people had been seeing for a long time what it was. But I think what happened during the pandemic is people really understood, probably on a mass scale, that the government really don't give a fuck about you.
Yeah. And that part, which is funny to me, because people like the boomers, they love to say, no one wants to work. Mm-hmm. And there's so many jobs out there. They just don't want to work. Pandemic made them lazy. Mm-hmm. No, pandemic showed us that y'all been scamming our parents and our elders for years. They just were in line. Yeah. We not in line. In other words, we a little rowdy bunch that's like, hold up.
Fuck this shit, I'll drive Lyft. Yeah.
Because here's the thing. For my grandparents, I think for them, it's times have changed. What you had in maybe the 1960s looked like a lot. Mm-hmm. Whereas now we have so much has been, we've seen, the internet, social media, different groups. Like our age group has been exposed to so much to where you can't dangle a chicken wing in front of us and think we're gonna be like, oh,
we're not gonna jump.
We've already had, so we don't. It's
We've
different.
Had the premium chicken. We want the lobster now.
So what our grandparents thought was okay at a job or what they would tolerate.
It wasn't, but they had to. I think that's the thing.
What I'm saying.
Yeah,
they had to. Will do what you haven't been exposed to. And it's the same thing with me. Like, if a job says they're going to give us this, that, and the third, that's more than with my other jobs, I'm like, oh, this place is great. Yeah. Because I haven't been exposed to that. Yeah. So you're going to be able to get me.
Which is something that I think people at the top really hate. And I feel like Gen Z has really pioneered this because, baby, the way Gen Z will pack up on a job and quit
in the middle of a shift.
Baby, they just be like, I know I just got this job, but I just got another job. I got to go.
My stomach hurts. Gotta go. They just be like.
I love it for them, though, because they really will say, you know what, this environment doesn't really suit me. And they leave. Mm-hmm. And to their credit, I think that they're kind of like really shedding light on, I don't know where they be finding these jobs, but they be finding them. They're really shedding light on how important it is not to like give any kind of loyalty to a company. Yeah. Because they don't care about you.
And you know why they don't care? Because they still can't pay their rent. With or without the job. Yeah. That's the simplicity to me that I don't understand why our government will not be like, that's why they're moving to where they're moving.
They know.
It's like.
They know that we can't pay our rent.
Literally.
Yeah. They don't give a fuck. That's the point. That's why everybody's
rappers
realized.
be talking wild about women because they know another one gonna come.
Oh my God.
I'm saying mentality wise to break it down to them so they can understand, like, if you know it's going to be a certain way, you're going to keep moving. You're not going to feel like, oh man, let me stick with this because there may or may not be another opportunity. They don't see it that way. They see it as regardless of if I stay here or go to the next, I'm still going to be in the same position. Mm-hmm. So until something hits where I'm in a different position, we're going to keep it moving.
Yeah.
This is simple. Yeah.
And I love that for them,
it's
actually.
Simple.
And I will continue to be of the mindset that if it's not working, I'm going to move around.
And I think millennials were in that same boat. Yeah. I think just for us, we were brainwashed a little bit by not only just society, but our parents of being like, I stuck with it. Yeah. Your father stuck with it. If you stick with it, it'll become something later. And that's why for the millennials, we real mad. We like, y'all promised us if I stay here, but I'm still the same salary.
A lot of us, or them, I should say, because we don't, but a lot of them have kids, houses, husbands,
responsibilities,
responsibilities that they can't really like walk away from. Right. And so for us, where it's like, I don't really know how I'm gonna pay this rent, but it's okay, I'll figure it out. Right. You can't really do that if you have a child.
Absolutely.
Which brings us to the next point of like women kind of taking a step back and saying, you know what, this is an untenable situation. I will not be using my uterus to populate the earth if we do not have resources to make sure that I am okay. Yeah. I'm not going to do this if I'm going to continue to be paid. Like, I think we get paid like 2/3 of what men get paid.
Right. What is the thing? I've read something as well about something changed about when you're maternity leave.
Well, you get 6 weeks, but you just push the baby out of your vagina.
Right. It's not good. Something about it's not good. I don't have accurate, but
you just need more time than 6 weeks. Let's be honest. Your child needs more time.
You just made a whole human and they like, I'm gonna need you to come back to work.
You come back in here and push these files. And it's just kind of like, okay.
For the same salary.
Yeah. But the same salary that I don't think it's 2/3. It's not quite that low, but
I don't know exactly.
It's very low. And I think the thing is, like, at 6 weeks, you're not fully healed mentally or physically. Your baby is not ready to be in a daycare. No. And taking the option away for women to be able to stay home and actually care for the kids that y'all want us to populate the earth with.
You got to be pumping and dumping or breastfeeding, a lot of women I know go through extremely bad postpartum. So you're not even in a mental state of mind to even be at a job after 6 weeks of having a baby. On top of that, the babysitter you got, she got a second job too. So she can't stay.
She can't. And that's the other thing. You can't find help.
You can't find help.
You can't, unless you're in a city where your parents
are there,
live or your family lives or your best friends, you really cannot find help
Yeah.
for your child. And I just think at this point, women have kind of stopped and looked around and said, yeah, this is some bullshit.
Yeah.
And I'm not about to engage in this.
And now you have to think a little deeper. I think women has really, I don't know what the right word is, but we really elevated as far as the way we see things. I think the way my grandparents, well, my grandmother and my mother used to think it was like, you know, having a baby was like an accomplishment back then. It was a big deal to like have a lot of children, and you would just be like, the man is going to take care of me. Women now don't necessarily think that way.
Well, we know it's not true.
I don't even want to put a bad name out there for men because I'm not even getting ready to deal with hearing this later. But I think a lot of it has to do with our mindsets are now like thinking, what if he doesn't stay in my life? How will I be able to sustain being a great mother, surviving? You know, like women didn't think about that years ago.
Now, and I think they did think about it, but you have to think about what their options were, right? Like we didn't have the options back in the day to get these high paying jobs that we do now.
Right.
And even
women are making more money than men nowadays.
So it's 16% less. It's 84% on the dollar to what men make. But the truth of the matter is we have more economic options than we had back in the day. And so if I'm gonna like risk my life, because pregnancy risks risky. Your life.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna risk my life to bring a child into the world, there are a bunch of different factors that need to be present that make me comfortable enough to do that.
Absolutely.
And they're not present right now for any women globally.
No.
Like
especially Black women, honey.
Yeah. Like
it'd be some bananas every time. I'd be so scared.
Yes. The Black, what is it called? The mortality rate for Black mothers. I can't remember. Maternal mortality rate. Something like that. It's extremely high for Black women.
It's too high for...
Yes. And so we go into the hospital with the best hopes, and you may or may not come out alive and with the baby. And it's just kind of like, why would I risk this?
Put myself through that.
Yeah.
You know,
So I don't know. I am definitely of the mindset, like I have obviously opted out of children at this point. I'm 39.
You're not ready?
I want to have children. I don't want to misrepresent it. I would like to have children.
Yeah.
But I'm also not going to do it by myself.
Yeah.
And I think that I had like a conversation with somebody on Instagram because I saw that South Korean women are just kind of like, oh no, we're not doing this shit. I'm not fucking having kids.
Wow.
They're literally like, and I wish I had the statistics. I have my computer, but they basically like are just not doing it. And I saw something that said that like in 25 years, we're going to start to see the effects of the decrease in birth rate.
Yeah, absolutely. We're seeing that now.
Yeah, because it's going to be, the workforce is going to be significantly impacted.
That's part of the reason why, the Republicans wanted to reverse the Roe versus Wade.
Yeah.
Because we are, and also I think it's like, full Americans. We're low. I think that's why they're like, oh, let's build this wall, because I think they're saying there's more Hispanic, there's more minorities, I've read somewhere.
Oh.
Minority rate is higher than
white people?
Yeah. I was reading that, and I think that, Republicans would be like, we getting outnumbered, baby. We're going to have to slow this down. It's too many Keishas and too many Jose's.
They could have just left us where we were. If they had just left us where we were.
I mean, we were minding our business. Nobody, y'all came to eat tacos. Y'all
brought us
wanted
over here.
Chicken.
So, but okay.
But yeah, I read that somewhere, and I was like, oh, that makes sense, because they're so stuck in the Stone Age with the way they see, the world. But I'm like, that's part of the reason. I think a lot of women are really not. That's not a goal.
We're not with the shits. And so I do want to have kids. I definitely do. But I also am not going to be careless with it. Like, the circumstances need to be right. The money needs to be there. The support needs to be there.
I've come to the conclusion that may or may not happen. And it's a decision on more so for me now is like, do you want to have another version of you out there somewhere? It was more like that. Like, cause to me, I'm like, financially, the way the world is going, will you ever be in the best position? Is there a planning state of mind?
I think you can absolutely be in the best position financially to have a child, because you think about like what disposable income looks like. There are people who have kids where, yes, it's expensive, but you really not like, it's not disrupting your life. We can still go on our family vacations. We can still pay this mortgage. We still have these 2 cars. Like we can afford to have the kids in extracurricular activities. In that regard, yes, you can be financially in a place where having children is not an issue.
Right.
I need that.
I need that. I also feel like my reasoning for not having children, because I mean, I'm definitely pushing it, but I feel like a lot of it had to do with I knew the responsibility of it, and I just didn't want to do it just to do it, and I just really wanted to be in a right state of mind outside of being financially stable. I just was like, I saw, what the struggle was like with my mom being a single mother and like some of my aunts and uncles. And to me, it was just like, I just don't want to put myself or my child through that. I need to make sure that I'm making the right decision to choose the right person. Because even if I'm not going to marry him, I don't want no, I didn't see enough baby daddy dramas with my friends. And I have a friend now who's a guy and he has problems with, if you're not in tune with the person you have a kid with, it could be a nightmare. And that trickles down to the child. And to me, it was a lot of that for my reasoning, outside of finances. I feel like life is going to work its way out regardless. I just feel like picking the right person is necessary.
It's really,
we see Blueface and Krishan. It's just, you got to be careful out here. You got to pick your partner wisely.
And the thing is, both of them picked terribly. I don't know.
Love is blind.
Yeah.
And it'll take over your mind.
They both just really, I'm not going to comment on that.
It's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely not in a space, I'm in a mature space where that would never be the case. But I feel like once you bring a child into the picture, it does change a lot of things. It changes you as a woman too.
And that's you just never, you never know how your postpartum is going to look. And so that's why it's so important to have a supportive partner. And I remember reading this thing on Reddit, because I be on Reddit. And this guy was talking about how he was upset that his wife stopped exercising after she got pregnant, but she had she was sick. Like I can't remember, gravidarium or something like that. I don't remember, but it's basically like we're extremely nauseous all the time. And I think Kate Middleton had it. And basically she was just extremely sick for a lot of her pregnancy, and he wanted to go on a fucking hike, and he's dragged his like couple months pregnant wife out on this hike with their friends, and she was winded and she couldn't keep up, and then she ended up throwing up and they had to come down, and he was embarrassed and like apologizing to the friends. Lord, please keep these type of motherfuckers as far away from me as possible. Because what you mean you embarrassed that your wife, who is creating a human, was too pregnant and sick to make it up a mountain, and you apologizing to the friends? But he just
I didn't read this.
Like,
this seemed crazy.
It's insane. But this is the kind of stuff people put on Reddit under like
you got to get on Reddit. Reddit be turned.
But I think people put this kind of stuff.
The only time I'm on Reddit is when I Google like when a man do something real bananas to me. You ever do that?
I do. Everybody on Reddit
like,
been through it already.
A man that would,
and Reddit be like a million people be like, yeah, girl.
A million people be like, yes. He also
I've actually experienced that.
That's
and it was
only
crazy.
Time.
Yeah, no, I be on Reddit. I love Reddit.
Know.
I think Reddit is like one of those things where anything that you've experienced where you feel like nobody else has gone through this.
Yeah, it's on there.
You put it on Google and Reddit gonna have a whole ass subreddit about how this happened to them and what they did to get through it.
Heartbreak feels like I'm dying. Reddit,
literally, yeah. Well,
several people have died from heartbreak. You be like, Reddit, stop playing with me.
Literally,
it's crazy.
But I think when you're looking at like the resources of a child or having a baby, and what it looks like, there have to be financial resources in place. There has to be a partner who is willing to step up and take care of you, because you don't know how your pregnancy is going to go. You
don't know who you're going to become after that.
Yes, you could be very sick. You could be very like mentally unwell, and you need a partner that is supportive of you.
Yeah.
Like you need.
Also, as a woman, I think your responsibilities really change. That was always my fear too. I know the career path that I've chosen to do in my life is a very selfish one. And you have to really put a lot of effort into that. I was always worried that if I had a child, I need to feel personally accomplished.
Yeah.
I need to feel successful so that I don't feel like now I'm giving up my life for
to
this.
be a mother. Yeah.
And because I don't want to have any regrets like that. I know that once I have a kid, it's all about them.
Yep.
So like I need my life to be I'm tight.
Flourishing. Yes.
Yeah, I need to be tight. And so, so like that was always my fear too. Also, even if you do have a partner who is financially stable, again, you don't know if he's going to drag you up the hill. Like, being like, I pay the bills, and then maybe that's what she's a part of.
Like, it could be that kind of situation, but you think about, we unfortunately have to consider all of these things, and this is why the birth rate is declining.
And declining is also I realize a lot of us in our age now, with all the jobs we do have, don't have great insurance. So keep in mind,
I don't even have health insurance.
Health insurance is tough. So with the economy being bad and there's no jobs and no money, just thinking of the amount of money you have to spend on health for your kid. Yeah. Like, that's another thing. You're like, okay, I work at Smoothie King and this thing of the day.
Hundreds of dollars a month. Yeah.
So much money. And I'm like, now you have to pay for their shots and their this. And
don't let them need glasses.
Listen.
Maybe you got to mortgage your house for some spectacles. It's so expensive.
Don't let them have autism or something, which is very normal now. A lot of my friends have kids that have autism, and that is extra programs, extra, learning things you have to do. You have to invest in, a lot in time and money.
Yeah, I think, I mean,
it's becoming a normal. It's not a bad thing because I grew up with ADHD, and back then everybody was like, "Well, these are just the crazy kids." I think it's important
to say that. Yeah.
I grew up with ADHD, and I remember the time when I was growing up, when I had it, the world wasn't ready for that.
Yes,
they had no idea what that even was.
Yeah, and there was no I think conversation around how to help kids, and so people were just saying you're bad and you don't pay attention.
But there were programs that my mother had to pay for.
Yeah,
as a single mother, for me to be able to learn a certain way. Yeah. Because when you have ADHD as a kid, you don't understand it. So when you're in a classroom and everyone else is listening and learning, they're going to think you have a learning disability. When you're smart, you just cannot pay attention. Yeah. So now she has to pay for an after school program to help me understand how to sit here and finish a sentence. Yeah. You have to be, or you're in different programs to help you not be so dramatic at home. Yeah. So she's spending all this money for a program that no one is explaining to her what that is. Yeah. And now you, as a mom, you're like, oh, I can't even go to my second job because I got to go get her and deal with this. Yeah. And so a lot of my friends go through that. Like, to me, I always tell my friends, like, oh, that's the new ADHD. Yeah. Because everybody in the 80s had ADHD. Now the kids is all, everybody's like, oh, my son or daughter has autism. And to me, I feel like they're exactly the same. Very creative, smart kids that are just...
You need a different way of learning. An individual education plan. I think that's what it's called. But basically, it's just a way that this is how you learn. So we're going to meet you at this level so that you can actually get the most out of your education. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely... It's just not a situation where...
But financially, where are we getting all this money for these things that are happening in life?
Well, so this is why people are doing gig work. This is why people are pursuing their dreams. Because if I'm going to sacrifice myself in a way where I'm bringing another life into this world, I need to, at least to your point, feel like I have flourished in my career and I have really invested enough in myself to feel whole so that I can give everything that I need to give to the kid, but also understanding how these jobs work and how you'll be great and get the best review of your life on Monday, and then on Friday they'll lay you off. You just
Who just said that they were doing that? I read Amazon has this thing called where performance something they do, where they find a way to secretly lay you off for what they say is not a great performance. Like, just say, for example, you're doing great, but they decide to do budget cuts. They'll put you on this performance something program. And if you don't improve in a certain amount of time, you'll just be laid off. And that puts, once you're laid off with that program, you don't have the option, I believe, I could be wrong, for unemployment or something. There's some way they're figuring out to let people go without giving them benefits, because they give you, it's almost like, hey, we gave you this plan you're on, this like get better plan, and if you didn't get better, that's on you. We let you go.
Child. They also trying to union bust.
Yeah. So I was like, tired. Jesus, what is going on? Like, now you could be busting your butt at a job and really, trying, and that's still not enough. And they're going to figure out a way to still play you in the end.
Yeah.
And imagine that with kids.
That's why we're all doing gig work. Because honestly, like, this Lyft app gonna open. And I saw that Lyft actually is leaving Minneapolis because they actually didn't vote it. I think the mayor probably just forced it into law. Okay. But basically they wanted minimum wage obviously.
Like for hourly
Yeah. So basically California has this thing where if you are doing gig work, the company that you do the gig work for, if you don't make a certain amount, they have to supplement that. They have to give you a little bit of like extra at the end of every 2 weeks or every week to make sure that you're making minimum wage. They tried to do this in Minneapolis and Lyft is leaving. And
yeah.
Okay. And so I'm hoping that they'll be able to come to some kind of agreement because I know that so many people depend on gig work. But I myself have benefited from that minimum wage thing.
Yeah, I heard that that's a thing here.
They passed it here. And I think probably for Lyft it's just not really advantageous for you to leave a state like California because there are so many drivers.
The whole town.
The whole city.
That's why I don't know why my Uber be late.
Yeah.
It's too many of y'all that's doing this. Why am I waiting 10 minutes? It don't make no sense.
I don't know. But when I think about it, it'll be like when I'm on the app, it'll be like the 1 to 3 minute wait for a ride over the next. That's the average for the last hour for 450 drivers. So there are a lot of drivers out there, but there's way more passengers.
I'm sure.
So that's I think what that is. But I also just think with companies like that, like fighting to not have to give the bare minimum, it just.
But it also says a lot of where we are. Can you imagine, like, if you could have a job where you could just drive there every day, get what you need, go home, and then have a life? How many people would prefer to have that?
That's what the boomers was doing. That's why they feel like we don't want to go to work.
Right,
you
but
motherfuckers could buy a house for $30,000.
Yeah.
We can't get a car for $30,000
Listen.
now. Yeah.
And so it's just like, if there's that many people outside deciding to work for themselves, that says a lot about where we are and why nobody wants to work for anybody. Like,
it's not even that you do hear that a lot. Nobody wants to go to work.
Yeah,
it's not that we don't want to go to work. We don't want to be constantly like oppressed and disenfranchised and taken advantage of and miserable and having the goalposts moved and constantly being in a space where we're afraid we're going to lose our job and watching people get laid off. Like, it's just not worth it.
It's like a bad relationship that you know that you need to leave for your mental health, but you're like, but I have no other options.
Yeah.
So you stay, and it's abusive. Like, I literally feel like it's abusive.
Yeah. You know? I was literally, when I left my job, I was crying in the car
I'm so sick of crying in the car. I can't cry in the car because I don't have a car, but you know,
but
I can't crying in the back of the Uber is a lot.
You just be like under your sunglasses like,
okay. I don't know how many times under my sunglasses I have been going down and they have to, like, cause you're fighting for your life.
Yes.
You want to be great. That's how I feel right now. I feel like I'm in a mature space where I understand where we are in America. I understand what the economy is like. So I try not to complain. Yeah. I try to do the best I can to any job I'm at. But it gets tiring when you're giving that. You're coming in positive, even though people are breaking you down every day to make you feel negative. You're constantly trying to do everything they throw on your plate because you're like, I want to keep this job. Because the moment that you showcase that you're overwhelmed, they're like, oh, you can't handle the position, you know? Then they like, oh, you know? So then you're nervous that you're going to lose your job if you're not staying, at a certain rate, a high level of working. Because they're always, the excuse I hear consistently is, this is a high-paced environment, and we just need you to keep up with the high pace.
Which just means we gonna give you a lot of extra
which
work.
Means we've been ready to abuse you, and if you can't deal with that,
we're not gonna pay you no extra money, but we're gonna give you a lot to do, and we need you to be on board.
And my favorite is when you are doing great, and you have that conversation with them after a year. You're like, listen, I've been doing 14 different jobs for the one that you hired me for originally. Is there any chance I can get like a small, raise or something? They're like, we think you're amazing and we think your potential is so great. And that is something we already have been considering, right? Everybody else. So we're going to plan on that, like in the next year, because, right now the companies, we're still new.
We're restructuring. We're just really working on,
we just got this new person.
And
you go through that, you sit in that meeting and you let them gaslight you and you let them send you off. And then it's 2 years later and all your hair done fell out and you can't pay the bills. It's insulting almost.
It's insulting. I actually, I think I never would have guessed that I would be doing gig work at 39.
Listen.
But quite honestly, the make my own schedule part of this is so clutch.
Yeah, and I hear that a lot.
The other thing is just that knowing that this is not about to be the end all be all for me, like at some point something else is gonna work out.
Yeah.
I just feel like we're all in a place where we're like, we gonna do what we gotta do to get where we need to go, but we not gonna do it at this corporate structure.
Yeah.
Because these corporate structures are really just pressing too much out of us for the amount of money that we're not getting.
It's definitely changing the way people are gaining income.
Yeah.
I think that's the part that kind of, I don't know what's going to happen with that, but that is my fear in a way. I never thought I would have fear over TikTok being banned.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, wow, they're really trying to set it off for us. Because to be honest, I don't make a lot of money there, but it's so much opportunity to make money there, more than there is, it feels like, from a day-to-day job.
Well, and I think the other thing is they're doing it. They want it to be sold to like an American company, but you look at the American companies like
Facebook
Instagram, and we go up on TikTok. Like we get mad love on TikTok.
Thank you, by the way, you guys. Yeah. Most of our love is on TikTok.
And we are so appreciative. Thank you so much for all the support. But I just think that when you look at that, when the government is saying we gonna ban this app, I just really don't think they understand how that's gonna radicalize people.
It's because now the app, is offering for you to have your store on there. They're cutting out Shopify, where they be charging buku money for you to even put your little t-shirt on there. They be like, we gonna take half of your little t-shirt money. Yeah. You can add your store to TikTok so easy. And get on there, promote, and people can click on there. There's also options now where people like ourselves who don't even own a store, I get approached on a daily from brands being like, here's a group of brands that they would love for you to promote their product, and you get this amount of money.
A commission.
Straight out the gate. Yeah. And they're not going to play no games and be like, it's too, they finna be like, you finna get this amount of $4, $5 every time somebody click on this. And that option, having that is a side job from home, which you can do when you're a mother. You can do when you're, trying to start your own. Like, the options are endless on there to create another form of income.
And our government has said, once again, we don't really support this.
Right.
We now, see I don't know. You're making money, and we want to put a stop to that.
And that's what it feels like. Yeah. And that's what it feels like. Because you're like, I don't know where everybody's making money from, where they're paying their bills at $15, $20 an hour.
Yeah. I can't live like that.
Unless you're working 12 to 13 hours a day, which is going to drain you and going to have you dying early. Yes. Or you don't have time for a social life, which is what you need as a human being. Like, you remember the game The Sims?
I never got into The Sims. I remember it, but I never got into it. And I still see people like talk about it on like
because that's
social
how we
media.
feel now.
Okay.
So I used to play The Sims when I was like younger, and it was interesting how it was. Like The Sims was like basically you create your household, you have to find a job, you have to like have a social life. And these are the bars that make your sim that you created stay healthy. Oh. If you drop down in your social life or having fun, some of the fun bars will go down, and then your person will be stressed out. So you would have to figure out a way to make time to make them have fun in the game.
Not a game that helps you learn how to manage your life.
Manage your life.
Oh my God.
And if you're not eating healthy, it would be like, oh, your health level is down. Or if you're not reminding your Sims to shower, it would just be flies all around them carrying on. And so like, even if you didn't find love and you just was someone that was lonely, your Sim would be lonely. So like,
let me just get on here and create.
It was wild. And then you would choose your job. And I remember I learned from The Sims, like I always wanted to be an entertainer. So like I forget how you would choose your job. But I remember choosing the job of being a model and how poor my sim was the whole time.
They said, we're going to give this a real life effect.
A real life event.
Okay.
So if you would choose accountant, it would be the same stressors because the accountant would obviously not have time for fun and certain stuff. So my sim would be living it up, fun life as a model.
But they have no money.
But would never have money. I would open the fridge and it'd be like 1 egg. If you eat this one, you got to figure out a way to eat more. So you got to go out there and maybe finagle some.
But I just feel like snacks. That's consistent with wanting to be an entertainer.
So what people were saying, what you keep seeing, the people are making fun of, people would say in this life now, my bars are down. My fun bar is down because of The Sims. And that's where that's coming from. Because I'm like, literally, you need a social life.
You do.
To feel alive.
Yeah.
So if your life is only just work, that's where the depression comes in.
That is where the depression comes in. So I have literally, I think, just so that I could keep myself sane, I like plan it into my week. Every month I have like things that I want to do for the month, and I try to make sure that I'm doing those things for the month so that I can
move your mic up a little bit. There you go.
Every month I'm like planning into my month things that I want to do, because if you don't plan it in, you will literally just work and sleep and wake up and go to work some more.
This month alone, I've been Googling, am I sick? And that's been okay. I told somebody that on the stage because I work so much and I juggle so many things that I literally forget that I'm doing them because I'm so accustomed to doing so much that when I'm really tired, I'm questioning myself. When in reality, I need to be like, you need to rest.
Yeah.
Like, you're not tired because you're sick. It's called...
You're depleted. You're exhausted.
You're running too many things and your brain is running all the time. Because even, when I'm not working, I'm laying down thinking about what I got to do, and I'm not really resting.
It's so this is a part of entrepreneurship that a lot of people don't talk about. First of all, financially, it's just kind of ugly. Like it's
hard.
Real ghetto.
It's hard.
But the other side of that is that you really don't have downtime. So when I go to sleep at night, I'm thinking about the podcast. I'm thinking about
that's
food
what I'm
blogging.
saying.
And one of the things that I'm really struggling with right now with food blogging is that as a person with like anxiety, OCD, I like to eat the same things over and over again. This
I have that.
Not work as a food blogger.
You're like, not her making this again.
I need to have variety. And so I'm like fighting through this urge every week to eat the same things because nobody want to see me cook no fucking chickpeas and kale for the 14th time.
14th time.
Yeah. So this is a thing where I'm like laying down at night and I'm constantly thinking, okay, what can I make this week? Because I need to have that variety so that I can actually build out this portion of my career.
Yeah.
I also need to make sure that I'm reaching out to restaurants. So I'm thinking, okay, what restaurants can I contact this week so that I can get in there and film and put those up on my social media? Like, there's so many different things that come with entrepreneurship. It really does make it difficult for you to rest.
Yeah.
Your brain is constantly thinking, okay, what's the next thing that I have to do? Okay, you're analyzing what you did this week. How did this work? Did it not work? Do I need to do it differently this week? And then you have to factor in your other job. So before I come here, I drive for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I want to make sure that I'm getting money in every single day.
I was just going to say that, like, people think this whole world of it being an influencer is so easy.
It's hard. It's really, really hard work. And for a while I was doing Lyft. I would get up at 5 and I would start driving at 6 a.m. And I would literally drive up for like 7 hours and then come home and I would work out and I would be so exhausted I couldn't do anything else.
Yeah, and that's the part that's tricky. That's the part that I struggle with a lot because it's like you have to have a permanent source of income. Then you have to be working on your own, like social media stuff, which takes a lot of time. And then you also have to like your health, you want to work out, you got to make sure you're eating properly. Then you're like, okay, wait, should I go take a break and be a person? So like by the time you do all that, you like, wait, it's not enough time in a day.
It's not,
to do
everything
all the regular stuff for my bars.
Yes.
I'm not even, I can't even.
So my health bar was really depleted when I was doing 6 a.m. driving.
Yeah.
Because I remember I hurt my back last year.
Right.
And I really have to be very consistent with how I rehab my back. I have to stretch every day. I have to do Pilates every single day. And I was neglecting the Pilates portion of the workout because I'm literally getting up at 6 a.m. I only got like a little bit of gas left to do this workout.
Yeah.
I really don't have, but I would be sitting in the car and my body would just ache.
Yeah.
Because you're not doing the things you need to do to heal your body.
Yeah.
And so you're constantly juggling all these things. And I heard this analogy, I think my sister said it, where there are certain things that you're juggling all the time. And some of the things you're juggling are glass and some of them are plastic.
Ooh.
And
okay, analogy.
Yes, you can drop the plastic and it'll bounce back up and that's fine. But if you drop the glass, you're fucked. So you really have to be in a mindset of keeping the glass flowing and keeping it like...
I love that.
Yeah, because if you're not in a space where you're conscious of all of the things that you have to do, you'll look up one day and you've broken the career part. Or you've broken the body part, or you're broken the social part, and it's really hard to like put that back together.
I was thinking about, and on my way here, I was talking to a friend, and I was just like, is this it? Dang,
girl.
Because I was like, even though I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur and I knew I wanted to be in entertainment, I didn't think it was going to look like this. Like, I was like, it's hard and I'll be stressed. And sometimes I'd be like, okay, I guess I got to accept that this is what life looks like.
This is what it looks like for the time being.
And I'm like, because I just feel like I'm doing so much and still not necessarily getting ahead financially as much as I feel like I should be with everything that I do. I'm like, but I'm trying to find peace within where I'm at. That's why I'm like, you know what, just feel blessed that you're able, you know, because there's people out there that are sick, like, or can't move, or, you know, they're, you know, in positions where they can't do the things you have or don't have the support systems. So I'm just trying to find the peace within that, because I feel like it's in this time that we're living in, I feel like there is so much stress around money for me that has become my sole part of my life. Yeah. Like, I don't even read, some days I don't even sleep. Like, girl, my dreams be like, somehow be wrapped around money. Like, it's either I can't find the money, and I found it in the refrigerator. You know how dreams be weird. Or I'm being chased down or being robbed. Yeah. Like, I think my dream last night was some homeless man broke into my tent. Damn. Why do I have a tent? Let's slow down. But but he broke in. I was upset. And he kept breaking in. Like, I kept telling him not to come back. Oh my God. And then I would wake up. You know how you wake up and then I would go to sleep again and he'd be like, it's me, baby. It's showtime.
Now like, he came back.
He came
now
back.
He spun the block on your dream, bitch.
Black
Oh my God.
on my dream. It was giving Beetlejuice. It was... I told my boyfriend this morning, I was like, I've been up since 5 trying to avoid this man in my tent. He was like, what?
What is happening
I
for
can't
you?
Go
You
back
gotta
to sleep.
You gotta do some sleep meditations
but
to
it's
help
literally
reorganize
the
your
stress
dreams.
of money. Yeah. Because I run so many things. So it's like I have to really manage my schedule. And then I have to tell myself, you have to work at your day job. Yeah. So like, working at my day job and them being a nightmare constantly, like, it's always so many changes, but I'm rolling with that, trying to make that work for my life. Then I'm like, I'm trying to start my own business. Yes. Then I'm like, okay, then I got to also be a comedian. Yeah. Then I'm like, okay, I also run it. So like, literally some days I'm just like, I'm tired, but my body be like, don't forget, we got it. And don't forget. And that's why I'm being chased by the homeless man.
So I think
it was crazy.
I think for me, like, I definitely went through a period where I was very stressed about money. And I can't really sustain stress for a long period of time. So I went through my period where I was stressed about money, got my little, like, everybody kind of rallied and helped me out at the at the end of last year, beginning of this year. And the money has not necessarily changed a ton for me, but I refuse to stress about this. Yeah. Like, the bare minimum of the bills are going to get paid. I'm going to go out with my friends and have a good time.
Okay. I'm going to make it do what it do.
I'm going to have a good time. And I will worry about everything else on the back end. But I'm not about to stress about money for 2 reasons. The first reason is money is a boomerang. It always comes back to you. Yes. Like, it just constantly is in your orbit. You need some money, it's going to find you. But the second thing is, I think being stressed about it kind of repels it. Because
and that's why I had to wake up and be up at 5, because I was like, we're not gonna do this. Because then that, once you start worrying about it, it does. It pushes
it further away, and your energy around it becomes very, like, you're pushing it away. Yeah. And so you have to get in a mindset where you just understand that things are going to work out. Yeah. Shit's going to get paid. Yeah. Like, I'm looking at it like, it might be a little bit late. My credit going to take a hit. It's fine. This is not the life that I will have for the rest of my life. Yeah. This is a temporary space that I'm in. It will get better. And
it does. Yeah, some of my friends that have kids, you know, they've managed to make it work. Yes. Life always is going to be lifing, but you can figure it out.
You can figure it out.
I think where we are, for us to close out soon, I think just where we are is just so different than where our
It is. We ain't think it was going to look like this, baby. I really thought at 39 I was going to have like an 8-year-old in a house and a husband and like.
Girl, I've always wanted twins. I thought I had 2 twins. Be on about 5 movies by now and living a great life in a mansion somewhere in LA. I did not think it was going to be
in a mansion. That's the part.
Okay.
But I also just think this part that I have chosen to do, I prefer this. And so I'm okay to do that down the road. Yeah. And if it doesn't look the way that I want it to look, like as far as the husband and the kids go, the husband gonna come. I don't know if we're gonna get the kids, but the husband will be there.
What you want will always find you.
What you want will always find you.
Regardless of how the economy looks.
Yeah. I'ma just like build up this part of my dream though, so that when it gets here, I'm whole and I feel like I've accomplished what I need to accomplish. Yes. Like, and we're whole now, but we're building something.
Yeah.
Once it gets like to the point where the foundation is solid, I think the other stuff will start to come in.
Absolutely.
So,
and that's how you have to be in this economy.
Yeah.
You literally, everything you just said, mwah, chef's kiss. Because that is what you have to be in this economy. By the way, you guys, since we talked about this today, our next episode, we're going to talk to you about how to start your own business. Give you some tips on what we're doing as well as what we've noticed, what's going on out there. So make sure you tune in next week to The Girls Want to Know. We're going to talk about that.
And check out previous episodes if you've missed them.
Please
follow us on TikTok, follow us on Instagram, follow us on YouTube. You can stream The Girls Want to Know podcast on everywhere you stream podcasts. Like, it's all over.
We do need you guys' help to help us push our YouTube right now. We are doing wonderful on TikTok, and we really do appreciate that. But all our YouTube girlies, please come over to our, all of our TikTok girlies, my apologies, come over to our YouTube and help us build the brand over there. And we also will start to post where you can find us and just listen. If you're on your way to work or wherever you're on your way to, we are on iHeartRadio and several other audio platforms. We would love you guys to join us there.
Thank you guys so much for listening.
See you next week.
And we'll see you next week. Bye.